Oh, hi there. I would like to talk about Omar Khadr. Uh, Spent a significant amount of years in Guantanamo Bay, where he was tortured. They say this on television, but they'll say vaguely sleep deprivation, yada yada yada. But he was most certainly subject to far worse than that. They will never go into the details of that, and we don't really need to know. The thing is, he was 15 when he was captured and brought to Guantanamo. At that age, uh, you don't have a strong grasp of, well, any language, but you don't understand how the world works, and you don't understand how to speak properly. uh, when you're talking to adults who think you've done something wrong, in which case Omar Khadr had killed a couple American soldiers or something like that. So anyway, he goes to Guantanamo Bay and they torture him for 10 years or so. I look it up on Wikipedia, I do quick research on it because it doesn't take me long to figure things out. And this has Omar Khadr, Canadian citizen. Doesn't say much about his father. It says in 2002, he was captured by American soldiers and brought to Guantanamo. Uh, he had been brought to Afghanistan by his father. What they leave out is how old was Omar Khadr when he was brought to Afghanistan? I tried looking that up. I couldn't find it anywhere because he'd probably been there a few years. He's probably only Canadian by like a few years. Maybe he'd only been here for like since he was 5 years old, and then he went to Afghanistan for 10. That makes a big difference because then that means he didn't know a word of English. And in a place like Guantanamo Bay, when they have detainees there, they ain't gonna teach them English. Uh, they're gonna talk to them in a very aggressive, manipulative, uh, very vicious sort of way. I mean, he done wrong, so that he got what he had coming. But he did not have it light there. And this man that you can look up on the YouTube interviews and things like that, some vague notion of being paid $10.5 million, that is not Omar Khadr. That's not the actual guy. He is a representation of Omar Khadr. The real Omar Khadr is a puddle of puke, if that. He's probably got no cognitive function in his head whatsoever. He's a broken shell of a man. That's not assuming he's just dead altogether. Uh, we don't know, we never will, but the man who speaks perfect English on Canadian news, getting 10.5, like, oh, look at how everything is, and oh, this was a great injustice, but now things have been made better, and yada, yada, yada. All lies. Um, the Omar Khadr has always had a legal team. The people in Guantanamo always do, and they are lawyers who are paid by people with money from outside of the country to represent them. It's a political negotiation, and it's not Afghanistan necessarily that's paying for it because they don't have any money and they can't get their shit together. It's other interests that are interested in smiting the Americans that will back up Qadar. Uh, Countries that don't have any religious, financial gains to back up somebody like Qadar, but have an interest in being a thorn in the American side, they'll back him up. They'll use him as a reason for it. And they don't care about his well-being. No, they don't. It's all about just causing the Americans trouble. So that's why they'll back him up. And then there will be some wealthy Middle Eastern people, probably in Saudi Arabia, who cut sleazy deals. So a whole lot more complicated than you think. Um, Yes. They've had a face for Omar Khadr for many years of this particular man, and he was uh, just someone posing as him for the cameras because, in actual fact, the Americans don't want you to, well, no government wants you to see what somebody looks like after they've got their hands on them. They don't want you to know. Um, and for good reason. It's terrifying to see. Like, for example, in World War One, when soldiers had had their faces blown off, serving their country, they were put in institutions and forgotten about, like they never existed. And that is a truly sad and horrible and disgraceful thing for the Western powers to have done to their own guys who they sent out there to get in big trouble. But I could see them going, "Oof, we can't let people see that, man," or just, it's going to cause panic. It's going to cause this. It's going to do that. Uh, so yes, it's a total asshole thing to do. And at the time, it's not like they could have repaired his face. It's a very difficult operation. But you can actually Google it, and there is a picture of a man with most of his face missing. That's just one example. And how this relates to the Omar Khadr is that I wouldn't be surprised if he had physical things missing, like digits or maybe his ears. I don't know. I, they do have chemicals and drugs that can induce the most horrifying, painful, excruciating thing in the known universe, and yeah, you might be strapped down and you cannot die. It just is the most painful thing in in all of existence. Because there are certain drugs and things like that that enhance pain, make you more aware of it. You really feel it, and that is a truly horrifying thing. Uh, because Guantanamo Bay, secured location, uh, surrounded by bureaucratic red tape and armed guards and everything like that. What goes on in there stays in there. And Omar Khadr, I don't feel sorry for him, but at the same time, that is a truly horrible thing to happen to someone. Because at 15 years old, you don't know shit. And he was manipulated by his father. That is plain as day is obvious. Um, so anyway, to sum all this up, Omar Khadr, they say, was born in Canada. He was brought to Afghanistan. They didn't say how old he was when he was brought to Afghanistan. That makes a big difference because if he was 15, he was born in Canada, he'd probably know a bit of English, but he may not. I've seen many ethnic people who live in Canada who've lived here many years and don't speak English properly because they choose not to. That's just their cultural thing. Um, but if he was only like 5 years old or whatever when he got brought to Afghanistan, he wouldn't know how to speak English at all. So yeah, you watch on the news Omar Khadr speaking in perfectly clear English, calm demeanor, smiling even. Um, lies, all lies. Anyway, that's what I got to say. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one.